Okay, I'm back, y'all. Sorry, my other video, the sound was terrible, so I had to restart. Tell me if it's okay now. I think it should be. I did a little something, something. Um, and we were actually discussing gender, but I was trying to break it down into like Jin, Dginn. Okay, we good. So thanks for coming back. Um, the Djinn represents Jin, and then the law of gender. Um, it also, a lot of people choose to identify as certain genders to attract certain jinn because they do have gender. They do identify as male or female. So when a person says, I don't identify as a specific gender or my pronouns are they and them, it represents the type of energies or spirits they're working with or would like to work with, regardless of their gender. So a lot of people may be confused about why there's a lot of talk about transgender and pronouns people identify as. I think it's more of a spiritual thing, in my opinion, than a physical thing because anybody can dress up, anybody can say this, anybody can say that. But when people are really adamant and in their conviction about something, it's more spiritual. You know, um, just like if you don't identify with something because you don't want to work with that type of energy, or because you identify as a certain race or a certain gender because you don't want to exclude working with that particular race or gender, then it means that spiritually, or even if you want to break it down scientifically, um, you don't want to exclude certain energies from wanting to work with you or you wanting to work with them. And someone also was saying in the comments that it's also another way to drive certain energies away who don't like working with certain specific gen or genders. Okay. And since we have a lot of different people out there identifying or not identifying as genders or have their own pronouns, it allows and invites more types of spirits or energies or jinn to, interact with those types of people. And whether it's an ancient energy, back in the old days, I'm not sure if the they felt the same way, but a lot of times women were discriminated against certain energies. So it could be a way to work with certain energies or attract certain energies that may want to work with different genders now. So that's why they always talk about um, being offended when someone does not accept someone's gender, because in their mind it's like there's a part of who they are because of who they work with or who their energies are working with. So that's why I don't get into the argument over what's real and what's not. If it's real to you, like for example, I'm a woman, I was born a woman, but if someone identifies as a woman mentally or spiritually, because that's what the energies that they're working with, then I can't say, well, that's not true, because to them, they need it to be true in order to work with this type of energy. You know, just like it doesn't mean it's 100% physically or scientifically true. It means it's spiritually and mentally true for that person at that time due to working with this type of energy. So I feel like they know it's not a physical thing. If they know it, they're not able to reproduce children in a womb. If they're identifying as a woman, they know this. It's not about that. It's about energies that they want to work with. It's about how they identify in the spirit and mental realm. Has nothing to do with the physical. Um, he says being pushed so hard on the kids, even cartoon characters are coming out. um, well, that's true, and I've seen a lot of like I know Disney has canceled Owl House because of this, the pushing of the trans and the gay and the coming out and all that stuff. They've canceled that series, which was a popular like cartoon series on Disney, and they're pushing it in a lot of cartoons now because they want to create non-specific genders so that all energies can work simultaneously with other energies. They want to create like this one type of human that identifies as androgynous so that there's no limits or whatever. It's, you know, you said it's too aggressive though. It is, but here's the point. Like the reason why it's so aggressive is because it's easy to get people to think differently if you put it in their cartoons on their social network, social media, and if you cancel people because they disagree with it. It's easy to push something on children who are not, they're not hateful type of people. So they're going to definitely look at the sympathetic side of, this, and they're going to say, well, why can't they do this and why can't they do that? Because they're not fully developed in their brains yet. So they will definitely try to understand and see from both perspectives, and yeah, um, but at the same time, when when a lot of people decide to, um, like I said, one thing leads to the other. Like one thing always leads to the next thing. So you can't say this is okay, but that's not okay, because if you really look at it, it's kind of very similar. So it's kind of like, well, if you're going to allow this law to pass, if you're going to allow this type of person in the military, if you're going to allow this type of marriage, then you should allow people to identify as what they want. If it's just going to keep going. The more it keeps going, the more influential it will try to become. So, um, you said it's only happening in the Western world. But see, the reason why I feel like it's only happening in the Western world is because, well, I read a lot of different books, but I think, people try to create through, um, I would say people try to create new types of people or new types of human through experiments or social media influencing or TV influencing. They're trying to create a whole new type of being, different than most beings on the world in the planet. Um, it's kind of funny if you think about it, but then if you really think about it, it makes sense. But then if you think about it, it's still kind of funny. So, um, they want to create one race, one gender, to think on both sides, and because first of all, there's not going to be any gender war, and then there's not going to be any race war between each each type of people, because everyone's going to identify as the same old thing. So I think they feel like once gender and race are out of the way, then the humans can progress to the next level. Yeah. Social engineering. So when they say, okay, well, we're going to get gender and a race out of the way so that we can stop focusing on that and focus on something a little bit more substantial. And since they couldn't do it on their own without having to change and transform, them into the same exact thing, I guess we're going to have to step in and do something, because we live in a country where there is a lot of different races, people, genders, ethnic backgrounds. It's like a melting pot. And think about most other countries, or most other countries have the same type of people. They still may have the gender issue, but their laws, in certain places there are certain laws in place that have, you know, laws about gender. So that's how people choose to handle their side of things over there. But here is too many different people. And so there's too many different directions, and there's too many different arguments, and there's too many different wars going on within self, within genders, within sex, within race, within class, blah, 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 blah. So I think different countries are definitely in competition with each other. They've always been, since, space travel and wealth and all this kind of thing. So I figure if they're trying to create a super advanced type of human here, with taking all the races from around the world, combining them, and also then combining the genders, then they have combined every type of mind and body and soul and spirit into one. And how can you beat that? um, Not sure, but I don't know. If you combine it all, you can't, like, if you take some of this and some of that and some of this and some of that and everything else and you combine it all, you can't really beat it, because you don't know who's what and who's who, what they believe, and they're not fighting against each other. And there's no laws holding this person back or that person back, or you're not feeling discriminated against because you're a woman, or because you're LGBT, or because you're a man, or because you're black, white, Latina, Asian, whatever. You don't feel discriminated against because everybody is the same. So now you don't have those issues to focus on, and you can actually focus on what we're really supposed to be focusing on, which is creating and taking this to the next level. Who benefits from this? Um, Honestly, people can benefit anywhere at any time from anything. I think the competition to benefit from one country bypassing another country due to the type of people that live here. It's just another form of competition in my book. It's a form of competition. Like, okay, well, y'all have this type of people over here, this type of people over here. I'm going to combine all the types of people and create this super person and all the minds and create a super version. Okay. And then most of the time, when something happens that works or is successful, the other countries tend to follow suit. And so whenever they say, like, whatever country is trending or has the most influence over the world, other countries usually follow behind if they see how it's working. Some won't, though. Some will continue to stay in their tradition, but they're censored a lot, and they don't see a lot of things that we do over here. Um, and because I know a lot of people can't even watch certain videos on YouTube that live in different countries. So some people say nope, 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 nope. Just like we say nope to certain laws and types of punishments that they say yes to in different countries. Well, I mean, like, I'm not for or against anything. What I do is just explain how I see it. It's not up to me to judge or say, because I can see how it will work and how it can backfire at the same time. Okay. I can see both sides. I see both sides. I'm like, okay, well, it might not work out. There might be issues in certain other places, but then over here, I can see why they're wanting to combine everything to make one great individual, right? You said the dominant gene will benefit, but see, the point is like, yeah, not, and I said the dominant gene will always benefit, but then at the same time, all you have to do is bring in new genes. It's kind of like when you're making a recipe and maybe you put too much salt or too much seasoning in. How do you do that? How do you fix that? You add more of the main ingredient. Like, okay, we add some more of this ingredient so it won't be so salty. Add more to it. Um, so it's the same thing. Like, all they would have to do is allow certain people from different countries to move in to this country at a large rate, and then there goes, that extra ingredient to balance things right back out. Um, so hmm he said, to the point you have nothing left, you do not know who or what you are, and you will be the easily controlled. That's another thing. Yeah. Um, when you don't have a specific identity apart from other people, as far as race and gender, you don't feel as special. You don't feel as, you know, um, I guess, opposites attract. And that may be missing. And you may not feel as if you are supposed to go in one certain direction or another. So you just allow whatever to guide you. Oh, loves disciple sprinkle sprinkle. Thanks for being a member. So that's one of the downfalls. You don't identify anymore, and you don't see yourself as an individual anymore, unless you allow your fashion and your artistic style to help you stand out. Um, I know in a lot of different countries, you know, they have different cultures and they identify with their culture. But here, there's too many cultures, and we already know they're not going to combine all those cultures. They're just going to create a new culture. Thanks, CC Sprinkle Sprinkle. So, the reason why I'm saying that they're pushing this, and that there's the law of gender and the type of energies you want to work with, and they're just bringing all of it together to make one big super, being, bringing the races and all the different genders together. It's because, like I said, it's a competition. They want to create a new type of being. And it's interesting, it's very interesting to witness all these suggestive um, cartoons and movies and things like that that are pushing that. Radical feminists who are against new determined gender identity moral code, they have the theory, but female assigned at birth people who identify as something else have internalized misogyny. Well, see, the funny part is none of that matters. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about the mother matrix, the womb, the real womb. The mother matrix, the real womb, the real woman, will always be the mother matrix, uh, no matter what. And as above, so below, as within, so without. If you confuse or mesh together everyone as everything is one thing, then that will start to spread like information. Like, okay, maybe we can program this mother matrix to not identify as a female or a male. And maybe we can create a new type of human. You know what I'm saying? But the if you've ever gone and given birth, there's no way There's no way that no one will not ever identify as a woman, because you got to carry somebody for 9 months. You're not going to forget that. It's in the DNA. It would take a long, long time for that to even wash out of the DNA. So, I mean, it's an attempt. Like I said, it might backfire, but you cannot take the memory of DNA for millions of years away overnight. It just won't work. You can try to change the DNA by introducing, some type of thing that affects the DNA into society, but we're not going to really talk about that, but we can introduce it through certain things. But all the people that are not exposed to those things that are introduced will still have that memory, and they're still reproducing. Um, so if you reproduce with someone and they've been affected DNA wise and you haven't, well, then the chances are your DNA is probably going to be stronger, and you'll still have your own mentality, and you can teach your children, so it really won't matter. And I don't think it matters anyway, but you still have a choice. Everything has to do with choice. So you can choose to accept things, and you can choose not to accept things. You can choose to explain things and tell both sides of the story, so people aren't confused and they know what they're dealing with. I think that's the best thing. Give people options. It's in certain people's nature to trick you, but that's what knowledge and wisdom is for, to see both sides, to see the trick, to see the illusion. And then once the illusion has been seen, then people now have a choice again. And I think people should always have a choice. I'm like, okay, well, I don't, I like I like identifying as a female. I don't want to have to say, um, I don't want to identify as a female so I can work with certain energies. They gonna work with me anyway because I look good. Okay, how you doing? That's how I'm gonna look at it. And if they don't, oh well, I could read a book, baby. I don't need to work with certain energies. I have books, baby. If I want to learn something or experience something, I got books and an imagination. How you doing? So I really don't feel like having to transform yourself to have certain privileges or work with certain energies is enough for me, because I know how to read. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I got time to read too. Um, and if you can't read, they got Audible. Okay, y'all need to come on, sponsor me. They got Audible you can listen to. You said androgyny is godlike in nature, angelic in nature. Yeah, but not all gods. And what if you don't believe in a god? And what if, like, there's some cultures who don't believe in a god, or they have a specific god that is very manly. People can change their types of gods depending on who created them. Um, in some countries, their gods are male, some are androgynous, some are female. They got both. Those are like the jinn. Those are demigods. So it's the same thing. For me, if you want an androgynous god, then it can't even be human. It can't even be um, a physical form. You know what I'm saying? It can't even be androgynous. It has to be way older than that. So that's why I don't. I'm not saying that I don't believe in higher energy, or I'm saying that people create gods, and gods try to create people, as you can see. It's kind of like on the Matrix when when they created technology in these machines, and then these machines tried to recreate humans. It's the same thing. Um, but then the humans try to take over the machines again. It's like, okay, well, guess what? Now, instead of having a battle between uh, feminine and masculine or different races, now it's these humans against these demigods or machines or technology that they're trying to create. So you said like on American Gods. Mm-hmm. Uh, so you said there's a lack of men. Mm-hmm. And I talked about that as well. Like if you have a lack of a certain sex or gender that's being birthed, and you see more feminine or feminized men who want to identify as female, um, then let's look like deep into the future. What are we going to see in 100 years from now? And all you got to do to see is look back in the past. Look at ancient Kemet. You know, they were very androgynous in ancient Kemet, but they still had gender. Um, you could tell a man from a woman. The women would wear different clothing and have, you know, somewhat longer hair and more feminine features, but the men would also, you know, have similar clothing, and hair and wigs and makeup and all that kind of stuff. Uh, but they would definitely still identify as man and woman. And they said that they walked with the gods, which are the demigods, which are the jinn or the different energies that they wanted to work with. They said that male and female were definitely equal and weren't seen any different, so that they were working with both. They did not need to physically identify or as something else. Um, Maybe they're trying to recreate something like ancient Kemet, but on a grander scale. And that's probably what is being pushed. But at the same time, remember what resulted from ancient Kemet, what societies rose from ancient Kemet, and what it focused on more. You know, Greek and Roman society rose out of the knowledge and technology of ancient Kemet. And you can see how that started to focus more on the physical body versus the spirituality and the mental. So we have ancient Kemet over here focusing more on the mental and the spiritual and not so much the physical. But then those teachings and that information, you know, was taken into ancient, Greece and Rome, and turned into philosophy. And then the focus then was more on the physical body. There were naked statues everywhere. There were people who worshiped goddesses because of their beauty. There were people that, made gardens and, sculpted the human anatomy, and sports were invented, and athletes, and you said pedophilia, and um, people competing based on their physical strength over the other. So we went from mental and spiritual to mostly physical. Um, and this is why I feel like right now they're trying to combine both of those things. They're trying to combine Rome and ancient Kemet. They're trying to combine the physical body and the mental body, because that never happened. And so now they're taking the best, what they say, what they deem maybe the best ancient societies, and they're trying to put them together here. That's why when you look at the architecture in the United States, you see a lot of ancient Kemet and you see a lot of Roman type of architect here, because they're trying to put these two together and create this type of being. What could have been. hmm Um, You said it's been more Roman and Greek symbology in the media lately. You said who's trying? Who, what, when, how, and where is trying, babe. But so let's just say I don't want to. I don't know. There's not a specific person. Okay, when you, it's not a specific person. It is a specific energy, and whoever this energy is working with at the time, I can't even say permanently, because people can change their mind. Energies can leave and energies can go into different people. So whoever the energies are working with at this time, you know, that's who it is. That's why no one really ever specifically mentions names. Okay. Um, but at the same time, it's already been told that this was going to happen. It's been written about or prophesized about, blah 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 blah. So you said it's a collective consciousness, I guess. And if you're trying to create a super hybrid of two types of ancient cultures that previously, were very powerful, at this time in this, in this place with these people, it's an experiment. I don't know. It's an experiment. That's what I'm calling it. Everything, that's why they call it everything a program, because in order to conduct an experiment, you got to have all these different things. Okay, well, let's start them young or from birth, and we're going to put this in their cartoons, this in their movies, this on their social media, blah 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 blah, and condition them to think a certain way. We're going to put, you know, these types of influencers and make them very popular so that they'll be their heroes. We'll give them a hero, we'll give them a demigod, we'll give them, you know, this cartoon. Well, it's a structure of conditioning, and to see what type of human mind and energy this creates, and then we'll push it to the next level by creating laws and canceling this person for saying this, and almost treating people as if they committed a crime if they have a different opinion than this. And so then they start to create, this stigma around not accepting people who've been programmed a certain way, or who feel that they should be accepted for who they are. You should accept everyone for who they are, even if they don't agree with you. But a lot of people want to create one type of person, and it always backfires, because when you have only one type of person, you automatically go and seek out something different, or you automatically go and seek out something different, or when something different is presented to you, you automatically go towards that, because you've already experienced what you are. And so when they put something different in front of you, you want to go to that. So mm, To me, it's like a big circle. Okay. Okay, when everybody gets bored and they all look the same, they all speak the same language, and they all identify as, this, that, then we'll reintroduce new people or, different people and break it all up again. Um, you said you were never interested in that reality TV shows, games they play. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You said not the golden age, golden race. Um, well, see, the thing, like, okay, this is what I've learned. When you have too much of something, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So you have too much of something, it loses its value. If you have gold, everything, to you, it has no value. And so when you start to feel like you don't have any value because you're surrounded by everything valuable, then things that have no value may seem valuable to you. You see what I'm saying? So, like, if someone grew up around a bunch of shiny gold and, luxury items, if they saw, some little cheap toy or some little cheap thing from, the Dollar Tree, they might find that more interesting and would trade a piece of gold for something that costs $1 because they're surrounded by gold. And so then this is how they're exploited without even knowing. Just like, when you go to certain parts of the world where they have an abundance of oil or gemstones or diamonds, they easily give it away for pennies on the dollar because there's so much of it. They don't feel exploited, but they are exploited because they see, okay, oh my gosh, Air Jordans. You're going to give me a pair of Air Jordans if I let you dig in this mine in this part of Africa to get diamonds and only pay us $20, every, $200 or whatever a day. Sure, go ahead because they're surrounded by abundance, gold, diamonds, and all that kind of stuff. But they can't get no Air Jordans easily as they can go and dig up a diamond, you know? So when you're exploited in a certain way and you don't know your true value and no one is teaching you and you don't have the option or the choice because you don't have the knowledge, then people who do have the knowledge will see that, oh my gosh, exploitation. And through exploitation is how you get in and how you get that DNA in and how you have your energy brought to a whole different part of the world to start to work over there. See? So it's all going to be um, exploitive in a way. The way that a lot of energies get in is to exploit, is to raise your energy level um, to a point where you know you are going to be exploited. And by the time you realize that you were exploited, either it's too late or it's nothing you can do about it because now it's a normal thing. So, and this is what needs to change if you want to change anything: the exploitation. You have to flip it and transmute the exploitation. That's all you have to do. If you don't feel exploited, if no one sees you as exploited, then it cannot work. Um, if no one brings attention to the exploitation, and no one feels or vibrates the exploit, then um, it's not true. If someone does not feel betrayed or exploited in a certain way by people, they cannot hate them. They can't even be angry or upset at them. Because if you have the knowledge as to why people try to exploit other people, you will see the bigger picture and you will know that it is not personal. I'll repeat that. Um, it is not personal when someone is exploited. On the other person's end, it may be greed, it may be them trying to accomplish something, but to the person that is quote unquote being exploited, it is never personal. And the reason why it is never personal is because those people don't know you enough personally to exploit you personally. So that's why, if you don't see it as an exploit, but see it as a step in a certain direction to get somewhere, or as greed, or as some type of s- um, you know, piece of a puzzle that you have to complete, you won't ever take it personal or blame the person or vibrate in the energy that they need you to vibrate in as being exploited. And so the plan backfires then. The whole thing just goes away and backfires. So never feel exploited if you have been exploited. Just learn the lesson, never repeat. That's it. Um, and that's the key to never, ever allowing someone to use your energy without your permission. Hmm. The inner conversation and the visualizing is what I'm focusing on mastering. If I can borrow your voice and make you say something, loving the benefits of both, it usually works out for me. And your mind, and then they also teach that the mind is over everything, right? So if you can't if you can't get your mind to master anything and everything, if you have to physically, verbally, and culturally and sexually exploit another person, you haven't mastered your mind yet. You're still working through the physical and the energy, the lower energies. You haven't mastered your mind yet if you have to exploit people. You know, um, I have plenty of opportunity to exploit people, um, left and right if I wanted to, but I don't need to do that because I don't care to. I can master the way I think and not have to exploit anything. You can master how you imagine things. You can master how you feel about yourself. You can master your imagination. You can master your body frequency. You don't need to harness other people's frequency in order to get yours to that frequency if you know how to master your mind. Uh, Now, I'm not saying I know how to master my mind better than anybody in the world, but I know I don't have to exploit people to change my energy level. Okay. I know I don't have to do that. But another thing is, if you have to trick people from birth to death in order to accomplish something, you didn't accomplish anything. You accomplish something when people know the truth and still want to go that way. That's accomplishment. I promise you. So, you know, when it's their choice, that's why people don't like certain people who are major influence, and it's the person's choice to follow or like them or not. They're not part of any type of, you know, agenda being pushed. They're simply giving their point of view and not caring about what the majority or society thinks. And they also feel that, if people have more knowledge, they can see through the illusion and, then have their own mind to do what they want. And so a lot of people are always trying to say, "Oh, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up from this." But wake up to your free choice. You have a choice whether to accept something or not. How you perceive yourself is power in itself. And that's the beauty of perception. There's so many different points of perception that you can perceive yourself any way you choose, any day you choose, any minute you choose. So if we look back at the great writers and alchemists and people, they changed their names a lot. They identified, they faked their deaths. They did all kind of stuff, you know, and changed their identities all the time. Um, they had no problem with that. But what they didn't do is become one thing. And what they weren't was controlled. So um, when you have examples that stand out, that's who you are supposed to learn from, not people that are trying to create one specific, group of what I call, followers or, sheep or whatnot. You're not supposed to follow the flock. You're supposed to um, learn from those who don't need to follow a flock. Mhm. You said what they didn't do is become one thing. They didn't. They kept transmuting and using the law of this and the law of that. And like in alchemy, they do have what they call the hermaphrodite, but their heads are separate. Um, if you look in the alchemy book, when they have the male and the female combined, their heads are always separate, not one. Their mental is never one. So you can't, like, when they show you the alchemy and they show you ancient Kemet and they show you that men and women were still separated even then, even though that they were very androgynous, they were still different. They weren't considered one thing or not. um so and they walked amongst the gods at the same time, just like we are now. you know what the gods were to them or just higher beings or different energies that were not in the physical form at that time. So if you see the ancient pictures in Kemet where someone's holding an ankh up to one of the pharaohs or queen's noses, that's transferring the spiritual energy into the person or into their breath, into their noose or their nose. And they use it, I've talked about this so many times. They use electricity and plasma, electrons and protons and all that kind of stuff to transfer this energy into someone else. And then that's why they associated royalty with the gods, because they got a piece of them. They got some of their energy, they got some of their spirit or their nous. So today, anyone with certain knowledge can do the same thing. Anybody. And mhm, depending on who you deem is a goddess, god, demigod, you're able to do so. And I think a lot of people know that, and some people don't. Welcome, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Okay, Johnny, thanks for being a member. Thanks for becoming a member. Um, Men that act like girls are interesting, not judging, just watching and listening. um, in all these ancient societies that are the blueprints, they're the one original goddess is always a female in gender, you know. So you can't try to become one, because the universe reflects what's here on earth. So as above, so below, as within, so without. You're never going to have an androgynous race forever. It will definitely always go back to the female. And so if you try to have androgyny, it won't last but for a minute. And then it goes right back to female. So um, it will never be one super race or super gender, because it's naturally going to go back to the female. Um, you see, like Wonder Woman. And so the more that they push androgyny and no gender, the closer you get to all female. You know, they got T-shirts that say the future is female, and so the mother matrix will always definitely go back to female, no matter how much masculine energy is pushed, or how much energy is pushed to not identify as a gender at all and banish gender roles and da da da. It's always going to go back to the female, no matter what you do. I believe that you said the law of assumption. I believe that, that's what happened. That's why a lot of those ancient cultures failed after a certain amount of time, because it couldn't go anywhere. It couldn't go anywhere because of um, one wanting to rule over the other, or one wanting to be androgynous with um, and combine everything. That's why a lot of these countries, not countries, but a lot of those empires fell, because they were trying to create something that was not supposed to be created. hmm They were trying to find God, and all they found was a woman. And they maybe, okay, well, let's move over here to the different side of the world and try it again and combine these two together and see if we can get a woman still. You're always going to come back to the woman, always. You said that's why there are more trans women than trans men. Exactly. And and a trans man can still have a baby. So they're all identifying as female in the majority. So the more like you push this agenda, the closer you're going to get to all female again. Um, mhm. And what they try to make you feel is like they also, this is why this whole mental illness thing is so rampant right now. They're trying to make a lot of people think that they're crazy and that they have mental issues and da 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 da. Men tall, men tall in a woman. Okay. When a man is tall inside of a woman, which represents when a woman is working with a masculine energy, or men T all. You can break it down in several ways. You know, T means to lift up on a table. God is a woman, so man lift woman. Whichever way you want to look at it, it don't matter because it's always going to end up female, no matter what. The reason why is because they call this trapped in the matrix, and the matrix represents a womb. So they feel it's a trap. How is it a trap when it gave you life? I'm trapped in the matrix of reincarnation. I'm trapped in the matrix. Well, what are you gonna do? Where else you gonna go? Did they have a word for the testicles? That's where you want to go? The ocean? The sea? It's still both. So you said higher dimensions. Into the darkness. Come in tall. Or man T all. AL represents God. So yeah, where are you going to go outside of the matrix? You said Tesla? No. An electric car? What happened? Mhm. The abyss, the darkness is still the womb. Exactly. You in another womb because that womb came out of womb. So where you going? That's all I'm asking. Where are you going? That womb came out of a womb too. So I don't know where y'all going. In a circle. Um, Stop trying to escape. Just make it work. Okay? That's all I can tell you. Even the woman can't escape the matrix because she came out of a woman. You said you were Agent Smitten. No, I'm just saying like what truth is. They try to make it the Matrix seem like a bad thing, but it's not. Where else are you going to go? Uh-huh. Like where else are you going? Somewhere where I'm not trapped by a woman. Well, good luck with that. Um if you die as a man, do you come back as a man? If you want to, I don't know. I mean, I would think that there would be several things that have, it would be easier to reincarnate as whatever you felt comfortable with or was familiar with. And if you wanted to do something different, maybe you could. I don't know. Because when they say, "Oh, in the womb, everyone starts out female." Um, you said somewhere I'm not trapped as a woman. Yeah. Um, has there ever been in anyone's imagination? Now, let me ask this question. Is there an outside of the matrix in anyone's imagination? Have they written about it? Is there a movie about it? Is there a way to even perceive that? No, there's not. So if there's not even an imagined place of what it is like outside of a matrix, then what does that tell you? Going to another matrix. You leave this matrix to go to a different matrix. Yes, because that matrix came from a matrix. So you never really leave the matrix. You just leave a matrix. That's it. It's just what it is. So there is like rebirth into another matrix. That's it. This is another world. Um, but still female. This is why, like, I don't try to get political or anything, but just when you really sit and think, this is why in some parts of the world they want to rule over women or say women are less than because they're trapped. And so to feel some sense of power, men have to treat women or exploit women to feel a certain way and to use their energy because they don't have that feminine womb matrix energy unless they can use it by making women vibrate on a certain frequency and see them as higher and see the man as higher. But when women don't see that, then that energy shifts. And so that's why in some countries they will not allow certain videos, certain movies, certain music, certain entertainers over there because they have been empowered by feminine energies that they don't want these women to get any ideas behind, you know? So if you can't escape the matrix, then create the world you want here in a matrix. That's almost as if like going against nature itself. And so when nature starts feeling that something is not right, then things will balance themselves out, which is what's happening now. Things are starting to balance out because something ain't right. This is this and still losing in the matrix they want to control. See, you said men try to conquer Mother Earth. That it can never happen. And I think once men realize this and start to just see what is available and what is able to be, um, done, then things will get how they're supposed to be. I don't think there'll be any like issues with it. I feel like that's the Bible story. Like when Adam tried to dominate over Lilith, that's when the problem began. Um, even though that's, that story, not in the Bible, but the Lilith and Adam story is where I feel the struggle began in this history or this story. I'm not gonna call it history because I guess it would be his story because he would be telling it. Um, that's true. Like, okay, oh no, Adam, you can't be in charge over me. I know you lying. I'm out. Create another type of human from my rib and call her Eve, and she better do what I say. And she still didn't do what he said. He listened. Eve wouldn't listen to the serpent and be like, "Oh, look, I made a man. I had a baby. I made a man. Adam, you can't do that." So still, he couldn't escape, even though he got rid of Lilith. He still couldn't escape the matrix. Still, like no matter where he went, he was not. He could not escape. The only way to escape The matrix is to not escape it. And don't see it as a prison. Okay? It's not a prison. Why are you trying to escape? You're not in prison. And if y'all talking about mental issues, that's a mental issue right there. Okay? Yeah. Y'all trying to escape something that is inescapable. That's crazy. Um, Even science can't make up stuff to escape it. Even math can't. Okay? They done tried, I promise you. They done tried every type of calculus math problem on a giant chalkboard. They done tried every type of imaginable, fathomable creation for outer space. They still can't escape it no matter what you do. You can't escape. They done broke everything down almost to like sacred geometry and still can't escape. The more you learn, you trapped in the matrix. The more knowledge you receive, the more you feel trapped in the matrix because it's going to keep telling you, you can't go nowhere. So sorry. And the reason, and and I think the reason why people are trying to escape or quote unquote say that they're escaping a matrix or the matrix, it may just be an individual woman that they're trying to escape mentally or physically or spiritually. It may not be this universal matrix, but still it is. So no matter what they come up with in science, there's always no really real way to escape. So y'all can't go nowhere. Um, they even tried to create a religion that would give men power over women. Exactly, and it still failed. Um, they tried to make woman the devil. It still failed. People started worshiping the devil. They tried to make woman evil. Men still didn't care. So it just doesn't, it will never work. And this is why there is gender. There is gender, you know, because if there are two, male and female, then they have each other. They're not alone or without. And if one is not happy and seeks to escape, well, the woman is like, but we're supposed to be working as one. Otherwise, you just come right back to where you came from, you know. So that's what it is. They said they are each other at different points in time and development that goes on forever. Uh-huh. And it's just silly to me. It's like it's silly. It's so silly. And women, like I said, women were never power they weren't power seekers. They weren't seeking to dominate the way that men do on the planet. And I always say, the reason why men feel like they have to dominate over something or compete is because they're trying to escape the matrix. And sometimes they don't realize that's what it is. But I feel that's what it is. They're trying to escape or compete or prove themselves dominant over something from which they came. You can't ever do that unless you become that and are reborn that. then you can't escape who you are because you came from that still. So it would never work. You ain't going nowhere ever. So you said, what about inner earth? Inner earth is the same. Just a repeat of what's on the outside, and so forth and so on. That's why Leonardo da Vinci drew from the heavens to the human anatomy and to landscape and to machinery and technology, because it's all the matrix over and over and over again. Everything he drew was the matrix over and over in just different forms. All his artwork, all his different hidden codes and angles in his artwork always reflected the matrix, no matter what. So, it is what it is. And he knew that. And he was fine with it. Even if you're an artist and you try to find different ways to see things and hide things, it's like no matter what you do and how you're looking at this painting, how you're looking at this technology or drawing, or how you're looking in the reversed writing that he wrote in mirror form, you're looking in the mirror, which is the matrix. You're looking at yourself. You're looking right back to where you came from, the matrix. You can't escape. It says the good book says don't build your castle here on earth. Well, that's all code too. Mhm. So you said it can't escape the darkness. Where is the castle within the earth? Where's the earth within the matrix? So you can't, it just, I feel like people should stop trying to use, oh, I have to escape the matrix, and just realize your purpose instead. That's much better. What's your purpose? Why are you a man? What's the purpose of being a man? What's the purpose of being a woman? Why, in universal law, is there the law of gender? Why are there two separate genders? Why are, focus on that and see how you can be the best gender you are. That's the best thing I can tell you. If you don't identify with a gender, then ask yourself what made you not identify with a gender. And if you feel like, that's your purpose at this time to not identify as a gender, then remember all is part of this whole matrix and its program. And so if you're just a bridge to getting back to the all female, then that's your purpose. That's where you are at this time. And there's nothing to be ashamed about, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's the role that you're playing. People can switch roles at any time. It's up to the individual who is aware enough to make their own decisions and choices based on their knowledge. So that's how I see it. That's why I don't say, oh, you're, like in religion, people would say you're a sinner or you're going to go to hell. I would never say that. I would say you just don't have enough information and knowledge. So if you had it, then you are able to make your own decisions. That's why they also forbade women from reading books back in the day, or going to college, or getting a driver's license in some countries still today. Because if you knew how powerful you were, you wouldn't take a lot of the treatment, or you wouldn't be pushed in a certain direction by society, because you would have your own mind, because you would have your own history, and you would have your identity back, or you would have an example at least. So that's why a lot of knowledge is censored. And hi, kitty. And that's why a lot of people, have to suppress certain types of people or oppress certain types of people so that they don't realize they're, who they are. Not as an individual, but just as a woman, even, or just as someone who is highly um, influential, you know, or has the potential to be. That's why it's prophesied that it's only chosen few. You said she's wrong. There's a way out of here. Well, let me know when you find it, baby. The way out is in, if you never knew, because that's where you came from when you were born, and that's how you got here through insemination. The birth canal is the vagina. Oh, I wasn't born through a vaginal birth. Well, you still have to cut through the womb. That's the only way out the matrix. You got to cut through the womb, but then you're just in another matrix called Mother Earth. If you were born on Earth, so you have to be born in outer space, but that's still the matrix, the universal matrix. So you got to go outside the universe and to another. What's outside of the universe? We don't know. Another universe, the multiverse. You can't escape. You ain't never gonna escape. Just get over it. Oh, but I was born in an incubator. An incubator modeled after a womb. Okay. So it's an artificial womb, like still an artificial woman, still, but in the real matrix. Okay. So you still can't go nowhere. You're just forever. Do I accept capitalistic societies? I accept whatever I choose to accept that particular moment in time or that particular moment mentally. There's no permanent answer. I don't accept anything but my own choices and thinking. If you make sense and I agree with you, then we could come to an agreement. But yeah, there's no capitalistic society because what a capital is. What's a cap? A cap. The matrix is a cap, baby. We are the cap. We the hat, the cap, the everything. So, I don't know what to tell you. The cap. I'll just break down the word. The cap. I is tall, or the ka is tall. It's tall. It's in the head, baby. So, and then you can surround a capital. The capital is not the finish because you can surround a capital. Mhm. Um, you said it's someone cleaning. No, that's if you really want to know, that's Velvet in her litter box, digging around, burying some cat poop, okay, or pee. Um, You knew that sound? It sounded familiar. Poopity scoop. Bye. She said, I hear you're talking about me. You said we need to play Uno and hit them with the reverse. Yeah, if you are not trying to get to an all female world or society, then you have to reverse what's being done right now. And I think that's one of the things about that Dave Chappelle Netflix special that was not canceled, and that Dave Chappelle is the type of person that who is free and able to speak his mind without the worry of being canceled, because he was already canceled. He canceled himself, basically. You cancel yourself. He went to the motherland, came back, and said, I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to do what I got to do, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And if you don't like it, oh, well, I've already canceled myself. You cannot cancel someone who's already canceled themselves and came right back. So guess what? I will say what I want to say. If you have a problem with it, don't watch. And so what he said about gender and trans and all that kind of stuff was his supposed to be his freedom of speech, but the agenda is so strong at this time. And remember, it's not either way it goes. It's always going to go back to the woman anyway. So you can't, if you choose a side, you're still choosing the same side, no matter how you go. No matter which way you go, you're still choosing the matrix. Okay, so either way, you have to realize, do you want to go further into the all-female society, or would you like to slow down and experience duality in gender still? Why, um, it's up to, what you want to do. You said, because you either want to be us or be in us. Okay, that's true. So for me, what he did was bring conversation and awareness to gender and how people identify themselves, and how it's not um, okay for people to identify as something, but then again say it's sex or gender doesn't exist. But if you don't consider someone a female or a woman, then you're wrong. But if does not exist, then how can you be offended by me not saying that you are a certain gender or sex? So he was just showing the mirror. You know what I'm saying? He was turning the mirror, and showing that you can't say this because this is that. You see it turn his pockets inside. He did exactly what people do. They show you the mirror. Okay, like you can't argue this if you argue that. You're going in a circle. Um, and it's fine to believe and identify as what you choose to, but you cannot expect everybody to agree with it, because it's not their truth. It's not what benefits them. So of course they're not going to have that same perspective. Um, and even though everybody wants to be acknowledged and said, I'm a real woman, I'm a real, woman. Are you a matrix though? Like, are we going to have to start changing the word woman to matrix? I have no problem with it. Oh, what do you identify as? A matrix. What? A womb, a gen, uh, uh, well, I can't identify as a gender anymore because that's already been taken. I can't identify as male or female anymore because that does not define, one's ability to give birth. So I am a matrix. Womb, mother, and that's all. I mean, that's what people are going to have to start identifying as, if people keep taking these words away from what they originally meant. Thinking like, I'm a portal matrix mother. That sounds good. Okay, that's what I'm gonna be too. Well, you can't, but you're a woman, so that's good enough. So, do you see how if the gender roles disappear, or if they are creating new meanings for the word woman or female, then they're going to have to create a whole new word for a mother matrix womb. Sure, I haven't seen your videos in months. I was thinking about you today. Oh, just seeing you were alive just now. How's everything? Everything is wonderful. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate that. All right. So to be a mother is the most powerful thing a woman can be. It's not the most powerful, but it does separate her from a male. And she did come from one. So that in itself is powerful. You know what I'm saying? If you never give birth as a woman, you came out of a womb and you have a womb and you are still born a matrix. Still. Do you have a period? Do you drop eggs, baby? Speaker, sprinkle, sprinkle. Because that in itself is prima materia, which is first matter. Okay, sprinkle, sprinkle, that's alchemy. So you still a matrix, period. Because every egg you drop during menstruation, it still has a frequency. It still came out of a womb. It still came out of a matrix. And it still has certain energies. Okay. Whether it's fertilized and grows to term in your body, in your womb, depending on whatever, is another form of birth or being a matrix. But you also have another way of being a matrix as well. It's just like panspermia. You know how they say, oh, meteors hit the earth and there was some organisms on it, and then they started to reproduce on the planet. Well, your period and your dropping of eggs into water, who knows where that water goes back into the ocean, is also a form of panspermia. Your eggs have been washed out into who knows where in your uterus, and whatever that's mixing with, wherever it's mixing. I know it sounds kind of nasty and gross, but you're literally panspermia to a whole nother subterranean system. So still, you're still a matrix. Don't even worry about it. You good. You said stem cells, exactly. You said that's why we have codes. Gender is anonymous to your sex. Gender is not a social construct. Get over it. It is if you need it to be at that particular moment to identify with your mental or spiritual self, which means not physical. Oh, mother, much nature work, sprinkle, sprinkle. You are a real one. Sprinkle, sprinkle, girl. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate that. So it has nothing to do with your ability to reproduce children. It has everything to do with how you feel mentally and spiritually. That's it. So if you take being a woman physically, mentally, and spiritually, then that's a matrix. Okay, so there. If you don't have, yeah, so gender is like a crystal, is it? Mm-hmm. Ironically enough, I actually did a tarot reading. They were trying to do, I was told it doesn't matter, got the Empress card and other women trump cards. Exactly. Like even in Even in the tarot card, the woman card, the world card, it's always a woman. Period. So even if you break out the tarot card, the world card is the woman. Um, and everything in between, you have the star. There's a woman there with her feet between the water and the earth, and then the stars in the heaven. So she's as above, so below, as within, so without. You're still gonna have the woman everywhere. Um, you said you identify as a cis male because I was weird and accepted my assigned gender. um, no, that's funny. Um, see, I'd break down cis. I'm like, what's cis mean? Why? Does anyone know the definition or what it represents? Like, why you gotta put that in front of it? Now you've invited a whole nother group of energies by putting that in front of it. Like, be careful what you do. Mhm. We should do a how to protect your energy in the future. I will never refer to myself as cis unless you spell it with a S, S-I-S. How you doing? Cis term has mathematical roots. Oh, math again, huh? Ma'at, math, mother. Still gonna go back to mother. Still going back to that matrix. So whatever word you use is always gonna you can't escape. Can't escape. Never go. You can't. It's just like what? Just when you think you're escaping the womb, you're born into the mother earth, and then you get a mother. Mama. Um, and a grandmother if she's still alive. Shoot. And a great grandmother if she's still alive. Dang, how many I got? Well, what about the father? What about the grandfather? What about the father? Focus on being a father then. While we focus on being a matrix, men should focus on being a father. Oops. I don't like that one. What? Say what? No, we're going to take over the world. But wait a minute. What? Okay. No, we ain't got time for no kids. We got to go take over this world. Really? Y'all raise the kids. Okay. Hello. Wonder why they turn out the way that they do. Because y'all too busy trying to escape the inescapable and take over what cannot be taken. And don't realize that your role is to be the father, the daddy. Okay? You when the children are inherit the world is which they are trying to take over. Okay. Who is here with me last year should decode the movie American Beauty? I hadn't seen that movie in a long time. But um if women identify themselves as female because they have the ability to create children, I mean to bear children, or they have a matrix womb, or they have a monthly period which drops eggs, unfertilized, they're still identifying with their ability to create and raise children. They're not identifying with how they feel that they were born, or how they feel spiritually, or if they're in the right correct body or not. They are focusing on their ability to reproduce and raise children and teach them and guide them and provide for them and do all these other things for them. They're not focused on taking over the world or trying to escape or trying to rule or dominate over anybody. Um, because our purpose on the planet is to be this, and the man's purpose is to be the father. So when you lose sight of your purpose, or when you don't feel like you have a purpose anymore, or when you change your purpose to something else, then the matrix then reprograms to fit your purpose, but you still can't escape. It's almost like, okay, well, you want to take over the world, fine, take over the world. But when you're done, it's all going to be female, and you might be one too. Cis, non-gender specific, but you're not going to be what you started as. You know what I'm saying? So how that's what I'm saying. Like, your role as a father. That's it. A computer or electronic device don't work unless you plug into the power. Hmm. So men want to do everything but raise a family. That's probably what they're running from. Keep running, keep on running. Y'all know the track is a circle, right? Keep on running in and out of my life. um, you just gonna keep running in and out? Yeah. Wait, I thought this was the exit. And on the other side, it's a entrance. So you were just listening to that song for real? Um, you said men got caught up into choosing between industrial money and having time to spend with their family. Well, they forgot that the job and the money was meant to provide for the family. They forgot. It's like being sidetracked as to why you started something. Hey, um, yeah. So it's just being sidetracked. Your Instagram had a glitch where it posts all videos as black thumbnails, and I feel that there's something coded going on in the. Um, well, like I said, a lot of people create things and they need it to mean a certain thing in order to believe it. They got to see it because some genders don't have quite the type of creativity or imagination that other genders might have. And so, in order to really vibrate something, they have to physically see something rather than create it mentally or in their imagination and still feel the same frequency because they may not have the same type of vision. So, a lot of people have to create software or apps or programs in order to think that they're not going in a circle anymore, but they still really are. So it doesn't matter. I'm sure things will go back to normal soon enough. Hmm. You say Instagram the ops, or are the ops Instagram? And who is the ops? Who the op work for? The Matrix. Sprinkle. Um. Hmm. So you say Godzilla is female. Yep, she surely is. They kept calling they kept calling Godzilla a he, but it was a she the whole time. So you trying to get King Kong? You trying to get that King Kong? Hmm. And y'all remember the last one where he lived inside, or he was from, or lived, or supposed to live inside inner Earth, and Godzilla was like, that was her baby daddy, and they tried to make a fake robot Godzilla, and the real Godzilla came out and said, "What y'all doing over here? It's the same thing." Yeah, she had to beat the man-made Godzilla, but she needed King Kong, her baby daddy's help. And then they went back to their own separate worlds. Okay. It was like, okay, look, I know we don't get along because you didn't stick around to raise your ugly child. Y'all remember Godzilla's baby? Looked like King Kong and Godzilla had a baby, literally. So it's cute though. Y'all just go look up Godzilla's baby. And the only reason they got back together was to fight against the creation of a fake Godzilla, which is a fake woman or a fake type of being. And so after that, she went back home, and he went back home to the inner earth, and she went to the ocean, which is another womb. And inner earth is also a womb, so they both went back to the matrix. Still. But first, they had to destroy the fake man-made invention of this fake Godzilla. So it's the same story that we're witnessing now. Do you think your original form is that of a human? My original form, well, when I was in mortuary school, we learned that the uterus, or the womb, was the last thing to decay inside of a human body. And it was so tight and dense that the whole body could decay and degenerate around it, and the womb would still be intact. So, if that's the last thing that's left besides the bones, the last shall be first and the first shall be last. I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to say I'm still a matrix, whether human or infinite time and space. I'm still a matrix and always will be until the day I die. Until the day after I die, and the day after I die, and the day after I die, until the whole thing has decayed. But I'm probably going to get cremated. So this is why, like, you can't even destroy a womb after death, with, the elements. It still stands. Mhm. Um, so that's what it is. Why do women get them out? Dang. I mean, I have my whole thing about that. Like, some women get hysterectomies because they were told that they have issues and they need to get it removed. or their diets were not good and it caused them to have certain issues, or it could have been something that was pre-planned, long ago, and someone gave a specific amount of whatever that caused this to happen medically. Um, and yeah, in food or medicine. So it just varies. At the same time, people start taking medicine and their medical care into their own hands when they stopped listening to doctors and started doing their own research and healing themselves. So it's just a matter of who you put your trust in, you know. Let me see. You'll be cremated, Shira. Divine masculine, no such thing. The man is the helper. Be humble yourself to the woman. I wouldn't even like if I knew all of this, which I do, I still wouldn't treat someone like that. I mean, if play a role, be the father. That's not a helper. That's a father. You know, um, because men have seeds to fertilize eggs. So I would say play your role, and no one has to be dominant over the other one. Just because you can't escape the matrix doesn't mean the woman wants to be dominant over you. It just the woman is dominant over the woman because the woman can't escape the matrix either. Duh. Well, that's why what Adam had Eve made from his rib so she can't escape him, but he came from a woman. He came from a matrix as well, so he can't escape himself still. Or I want her to feel like she can't escape me, but she already did when she ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's how she escaped you. It's that easy for a woman to escape a man, but the man or the woman can never escape the matrix. So just deal with it, I guess. It's silly. If you really sit and just think, it's too silly. Just be the daddy you're supposed to be and raise them children and you know make a nice home and do what you're supposed to be doing over there. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You said there's a way out. She's great and all, but to tell you guys, well, if there is a way out, and it's called the way back in. The exit is the entrance. Because no matter where you go, there's a Lil Nas X waiting on you. There's a bipolar man waiting on you. And where you thought you left, you're gonna end right back up. You go right back. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. There is no escape. Why does religion cater to men? Because men invented it. Duh. When you invent something, of course it's supposed to cater to you. But you're not supposed to be trying to escape. If the woman is not trying to escape the matrix, why are you? She just rolled with it. Like, okay, I guess. Where are we going today? So that's all I feel like. If y'all stop trying to escape the inescapable and play your role, you won't have so much to complain about or be upset at the way which society is going and blah 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 blah. So are you saying that our reincarnation never escaping the matrix? Well, if you believe energy never dies, then how are you going to escape the matrix? You see, the science doesn't back it up either. That's what I'm saying. Even the science won't let you escape. Even what they call new what do you call it? Spirituality won't let you escape. No matter what your imagination comes up with, it will not let you escape. No matter what. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying no, don't escape or stop trying to escape. I'm just saying there is no escape. Yeah, no matter what new age theories you come up with, it still can't allow you to escape. Like, you can't even think your way out. Hmm. So, what's the point? Why don't you just enjoy and stop trying to find an exit? Oh, what about the Truman Show? Well, wherever he was, it led to another matrix. One where it did not center around him. So, so much, you know what I'm saying? Which is probably a nightmare to him now. Oh my gosh, the world does not revolve around me. Not anymore, dude. You done left. Good luck. Um, he said, but you still can't leave that one. And if you do, good luck again, because you're still going into another one and another one. Hmm. Um, my opinion on Akashic Records, 5G, sprinkle, sprinkle. Wireless communication, wireless. Okay. It's so refreshing to come here and dealing with murder, with mundane people day in and day out. You learn it's all a cycle spiraling further and further. You can't escape, only go deeper and deeper. But a bit scary if you think about how deep this goes, right? Um, all I can tell you is that mother like moonwalk, like if y'all remember the performance, the Motown performance with Billie Jean, Michael Jackson, he had on those black shoes, that white socks, the black pants, the blue and red shirt, and then his mother's jacket, which was black and shiny, like, you know, represent the matrix. And then he had on a hat, which is also black, which also represents another matrix. So he was leaving one matrix to go into another matrix. And he hit the moonwalk, which means instead of continuously going into the cycle that gets deeper and deeper, if he moonwalks, he stays in place exactly where he wants to be. If you are in control of your own um, life, career, da 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 da, then walking forward is not taking you any deeper. That's why he did the moonwalk, because either way, he's going to maintain the world the way he wants it to. He's not trying to escape, baby. That's what made him very interesting, because he was never trying to escape. Um, Even though he made a song called Escape, he spelled it with an X. And it looked like if you look on his album cover for Escape, he was the Matrix, and he was escaping into a whole nother frequency. So he was being reborn into another matrix. So it doesn't matter. You can't escape. How many times you gonna try to escape before you realize you can't escape? So that's the point. Like, stop trying to escape and just be the father, like Maxwell said, okay? Or Kate Bush, whatever song that was. Woman's work. Those lyrics are interesting too. Um, he said, it's all about the man now. Now starts the craft of the father. So that's the point. Like, the priests want to be called fathers. Men want to be known as, dad, father, this, I'm the granddad. Then be the father then. Don't act like something else. You can't escape. So that dude named Darth Vader, that means dark father. It's, dark still means feminine. So what are you? The feminine father? The unseen father? Ah, is that what? I think a lot of people believe we didn't go to the moon still. It's just like the gender thing. If it's beneficial for them to believe that man has walked on the moon for their mental and their spiritual to move on, then that's what they need to hear. Because moon is code for something as well. So it's a form of a way to escape Mother Earth and have somewhere else to reside. You see what I'm saying? And if you are in a if you're having sexual intercourse with a matrix, wonderful. But if you don't want to go into another matrix, then you look for the moon, because it's not on the Mother Earth, which is also a matrix. So you look for the moon. It's a full moon tonight. So what would be a moon? Mm-hmm. Yeah, got to go backwards. You said moonwalking, exactly. But in the matrix, and that would represent the Merkaba star. So Michael was like representing as above, so below. He was throwing gang signs with sacred geometry up on that stage. Okay, so he was like the Merkaba star. Um, but if he didn't wear that outfit and it wasn't Motown and it wasn't if he wouldn't wear his mama's jacket, then we could have talked about that. But man landing on the moon from a rocket is totally different. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Mankind? Y'all finna create another kind of man? What kind of man is this? So mentally, in order to try to think your way out of a matrix, men don't have the type of imagination women do. So they have to physically create it in a way for it to click, to even get to that next thought. Okay, well, we got to the moon. Now, can we get somewhere else? Can you? So if people needed to believe that that was just a way to say, okay, it's a possibility to leave the Earth matrix. Now we have to take it to the next step, but they're very slow about it. Because the more they try, the more research they do, the more math they do, they keep coming back with the same code. And that's why Trump was like, you know what? I'm pulling the money for a space station because it's just y'all silly. Okay? Y'all ain't going nowhere. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's basically what he said. Y'all ain't going nowhere. Just chill. Spend that money somewhere else, like being a daddy or something. Um, they spending billions of dollars to not be daddies. Meanwhile, you have women over here spending billions of dollars to become mothers if they're infertile. And you have men over here trying to become women and argue that they are a real woman. But you got men running away from trying to be a father, trying to escape the matrix, which all of us are still going to be in no matter what we do. So I'm just saying, I don't know. Play your role. That's all I'm saying. What if mankind means humankind, but actually they're referring to aliens? Girl, I told you they were trying to combine everything to try to escape the matrix. It's kind of like, well, maybe if we become neither, we can escape. Nope, because it makes sense. Well, maybe if we quantum tunnel, but you're still going to be in another matrix after you quantum tunnel. What's beyond the wall? Another matrix. What are you going to quantum tunnel to? The next matrix? Then all you're going to do all that's going to happen is that you're going to be reborn back into this matrix. Either way, there's no escaping. There's not. I don't even think we should look at it to escape. It's like, what are you really trying to escape? Your responsibility. I'm trying to escape my responsibility as a husband and a father by trying to escape the matrix. Oh my gosh, what's that rapper Future? And he has all the baby mamas, but he keep running away from them. His name is Future. Is that the future? Or is that the present? Or is there no future because the past and the present and the future are all the same because it's a matrix? I don't know, I guess. You said, holy moly. Yep. Future be on everybody album. Talk about skirt. Burp. He on everybody album running away from every baby mama. Ain't you supposed to be at home with your kids' Future? Why you on everybody album? You on everybody album. I can't even find an album. You on country album, Future. What you doing? Go home. Take care of your kids. You who Lauryn Hill was talking about on that thing. That thing. Can't even take care of his 24 kids. No, honestly. Is that what Michael Jackson meant in the song You Can't Win? Yep, because guess who got him off the little pole? A woman. Um, th- you missed that voice too much. And who put him on the pole to scare away scarecrows? I mean, to scare away crows and birds, but it didn't work because the crows was exploiting him, and the woman comes and saves him. They were making him sing "You Can't Win." It's just messed up. Hmm. Can't win if you ain't right within. Don't play a role as a man. Yeah, you just be going deeper into the circle. Um, that's why on the Drake album cover, there's all these baby mamas because that's all. And that's why, like, Meek Mill outed him as being a father. Like, take care of your kid. Um, so he got all these baby mamas on the album cover. Um, like, take care of your kid. That you be a father. Go. He said people used to die a lot more. We had to keep up the population. Hmm. You said prego fetish. Oh, baby daddy. Um, you said we in a pandemic now. Oh my goodness, what's a pandemic? Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go on this channel because I know y'all got some thinking to do, some priorities to switch around, and you said you pass out when you look at me, when I look at you, baby. Well, then you might have some low blood pressure or something to check your blood sugar. Spark, sparkle. Yeah. Like, so don't get mad at people for trying to identify as something. They're just trying to escape the matrix and to another matrix that they don't realize is waiting on. So, just sure, whatever. It all leads back to the woman. So have fun. Um, bye. That's all I mean. You can't be mad at people. It's just people push you in a different direction. You don't even know where you're going anymore. Just know you're coming right back to the woman, the matrix. That's all. If you don't know where you're going, just know where you're going. Where you came from is where you're going. That's it. All right. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Bye.